Hi, today we'll be solving a USACO 2016 February contest bronze question. The question is milk pails. So in this question, we are provided with three pails with limits x, y, and z. Sorry, x, y, and m. Okay. And our task is to find the maximum amount of milk that can be stored in the pail of size m by pouring milk from X and Y. And there are some specific operations or conditions that are provided over here. So he can fill the smallest pail of size X. So he can fill this pail completely and then pour it into the size M pail over here. So let's assume that this is pail of size X and this is of size M. So he can fill this up completely and then pour it inside the M. And at the same time, he can do it with Y as well. Over here, you can read the second operation conditions given. Medium size Y, this is Y size pail, and he can fill it completely till the top. And with Y units of milk and pour it in the size M pail, as long as this will not cause the size N to pail to overflow. So till the point you don't overflow, make this, make the milk flow out of it, you can fill the M size pail. Okay, and at a time you can you have to actually completely uh, pour the milk from pail X of size X to the size M pail. Now this question, if you look properly, this can be treated or can be turned into an equation kind of situation over here we have. So X, that is the size X pail, into the number of pours. Let's say how many times we are pouring the milk from this to this. Let's call them A, okay, plus the size Y pail into number of pours that we can do from here is should be equal to how much? M. Or you can even call this is much better equation. So this is what we have to technically find, and we have we have to check how close we can go to M. For example, our sample input and output is given over here. So let's analyze it for now. The input says that the X is of size 17, the pail Y is of size 25, the pail M is of size 77. Okay, so if we do 3 times, the output is 76. We'll explain this how the output is 76. If we do 0, 17, if we, let's say, if we don't use this pail at all, we only use the other pail, let's say. So how many times we can use other pail is, let's say, 3 times. It will give us a value 75. Okay, which is technically less than 77. So we are, the constraint that was provided to us that we can fill the pail of size M till the milk doesn't overflow from it. So the condition is satisfied. So we get answer 75. Okay. Now next time, let's say we want to use this pail one time, one pour. We can pour this pail just once. Okay. And the remaining time we do this. So how many times we can fill using the other pail? I mean 25 size pail. So if you see 17, we have 17 units we have filled using the pail 1. Okay, so how much is left is 75 minus 17. It will give you how much? It will give, okay, this will become 15, 6, and 8, and 5, 58. Okay, so now at max, using this pail, we can at max pour 2 times. It's obvious, right? If you do it 3 times, it will become 75, which is, overflow. Okay, so 25 into 2, and this will give us a value, how much? 50 plus 67. Okay, so this new value that we have got is lower than the above value, lower than this value. So this is our maximum value right now. So technically our solution should be as close as to this value. Okay, either equal to or as close as to this value. So right now the closest value we got is 75. So this can't be our answer because we already have a best value over here, 75. Now let's try another one, another idea where we pour this pail, the pail X, 2 times. Okay. So how much we contribute by pouring it 2 times is 34 units. And okay, let's do the calculation over here. So 77 minus 34, it's equal to 43. So remaining is 43. And how many, now think like this. Now you have total capacity of 43 and you have a pail of size 25. So how many times can you pour the milk from here to here? Only one. Because if you do it 2 times, it will become 50, which is more than 43. So we can only do it just once. So I will write 25.1 and it will give me a value. It will be equal to 34, 59, I think. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is less than our best value, that is still 75. So we can reject this answer. Next, we can maybe try one more time with one more higher value. Okay, let's choose blue color. Okay, let's say the 17 size, a pail of size 17, we pour it 3 times. Okay, and then how many times can we use the pail of 25, size 25? It will be equal to, let's calculate, this will be equal to 351. Okay, so we do 77 and 51. How much is left? 26 capacities still left. Okay, so how many times can we use the pail of size 25? We can again use it for just once. Okay, so then the total answer using this will become how much? This will become equal to 76. Okay, and this 76 is larger than our previous value of 75. So this answer can be rejected and this becomes our final answer. And if you read the description over here carefully, it will say the same thing, that the pail of size 17, we can use it 3 times, and the pail of size 25, we can use it once. So the final equation becomes like this: 17.3 plus 25.1, and the output is equal to how much? 76, which is closest to 77. And closest to 77, that is, if you pour any more milk from the pail of size 17 or from the pail of size 25, it will overflow. So we stop at this point. This is our stopping point. Now, to do this question, first we will start doing this in Python, and then try the same question in C++. So using Python, what we will first do is we will simply see what is a input file and output file, Pails. Okay, so we'll simply write with open Pails Pails.ner. Okay, and then we write read it. We will read it. And how do we read it? We read it as, let's say, file input. And then we can define 3 variables, x, y, and m, the variables given in the question. And then we can simply write fin.read, and it will be like a string. So the inputs are given in this format. So input will have the numbers like this and separated by space. So we can overuse our split method. Okay, and one more thing, input will be a string, so we can map it to integer, so that all the string numbers are converted to integers technically. Okay, till here the input is done. And let's say we can use a variable best choice and name it as 0 initially, put the value 0 inside it. And then now the approach over here, how we will solve the question is, let's talk about this question only. talk about this question. Okay, so 77 is the final quantity that we have to try and fill completely. Now we start from we focus on the same equation, that is x dot a plus y dot b equals to something. Okay, now over here 17 is with us. What we can do is we can see how many 17 size 17 pails we can pour into the bigger pail, the largest pail, and based on that we will have an idea that's a maximum number of pours we can do with the size 17 pail. For example, if we do 77 double divided by 17, it will give us the answer, like, right? So how much will be the answer? It will be equal to 4. Okay, and I hope you guys know what this is. This is double division or integer division, 4 division, you can call it. So it will give us a value 4, and now we know that this pail cannot go beyond 4. Okay, oh, कैसे explain करें यार? Okay, and the remaining amount, that is this will be equal to 17 times 17 times 4 is 68. No, sorry, 72. Okay, so the remaining amount, that is 5. Technically 5 should be should be should be should be catered or should be taken care by the pail of size 25. Okay, I mean it's not possible right now, but that is what the idea is. It should be catered by the pail of size 25. Now what we will do is we will start by checking how many pails of 17 can we fill, like total we found at 4, right? So initially what we can do, we can start a loop from 0 till 4, and first time we will use this pail only 0 times, and whatever is remaining we will use a 25 size pail. Okay, second time we will use this pail once, that is 0 1 2 3 4. So first 0 is done, then we use 1, and plus remaining will be fulfilled by the 25 size pail, and so on, and we'll keep calculating the answer, and using a variable that is the best one, we'll keep comparing the answer. If the new answer is better than the previous one, we will just replace the answer, replace the value inside the best variable. Okay, हाँ आ रहा हूँ, हाँ उधर तक, हेलो हेलो, एक बार बताओ, आज हम जाएंगे चलने, चले जाएंगे, बता, हाँ हाँ जाएंगे, बता क्या हो गया? अच्छा, क्यों कल जाना है ऑफिस तेरे को? तो आधे घंटे में क्या ही काम हो जाएगा? आधे घंटे में क्या ही काम हो जाएगा? अच्छा, तू बता, नहीं चलना तेरे को? हाँ हाँ चल लेंगे, बता। ठीक है, ओके, ठीक है। हाँ, मैं क्या बोल रहे हो? बोलो। So let's start building the solution for this problem. So we can simply do one thing. Let's say we can define endpoint over here. Endpoint will be equal to, let's say, the m double divided by y, and we will run the loop plus 1 times, because that will be okay. This we can do later. Yeah. अरे मम्मी आ रहा हूँ, रुक जाओ ना 10 मिनट, आ रहा हूँ. Okay, so this is what technically returns how many pails, the small pail we can pour into the bigger pail, and then we can simply use a loop over here. Let's say for y in range, and we can simply write this thing n plus 1, because ending point should be, one more than where you actually want to stop. So this is a loop with us. Now we can define a variable remaining. Remaining means how much capacity is left, I mean, is left with us, so that we can use a Pail of size 25. I mean, how much is left to be fulfilled by the, a Pail of size 25. And the equation will be equal to y multiplied by your small y. So small y denotes the number of times you're pouring the pail of size y. Okay, so that is the remaining. Now remaining can be, let's say in the first case, when we are using 17 0 times, okay, when y is 0, small y, so that time the whole capacity has to be fulfilled by, that is 77 has to be fulfilled by the pail of size 25. Okay, so first we find how many pails can we use of 25. So let's say x, small x, we call it a small x, equals to and the total capacity is remaining over here, remaining double divided by the size of the medium pail x. Okay, x or y, I mean, you can use both techniques over here, doesn't really matter. This we have used y over here as a medium pail, I think. Okay, cool, doesn't matter, you can even use x over here, whichever suits you. You can try either x or y, I mean, okay, no issues. Based on that, this will be the other capacity of the other pail, and this will return us how many other pail can be used, and then we can find, not directly, we can simply do let's say total equals to, what we get is now comes a complete equation, y into small y plus x into small x. Okay, and then simply we can do best equals to whatever is the max best or the newly found total. Okay, and once this is done, we can again, let me delete this, clear the screen. Now we can store this answer back into the file. The output file is pails.out. Over here you can see that output file over here, pails.out, and we open it as a writing and call it, let's say, file out. Okay, and what do we do over here? We write file out dot write, and we convert it into a string, and best, and then we simply add and change the name. Okay, so this seems to be what we were trying to do. Let's do one thing. Let's try to submit it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. And we choose Python 3 from here, and let's say submit the solution. Okay, it is grading, and okay, all the test cases are correct. So this is a correct approach we have. You can have any other different approaches if you wish. But yeah, this is a fine approach. And we can do the same thing, same task in your other languages, namely as, let's say, C++. Okay. And now let's look into how we will be doing the C++ approach. Okay, let's start it in C++. For that, we will use GDB online. Okay, I have already written how to take the input and the output right over here. And just to let you know one thing, this line over here, when you use this line, it technically, imports, I mean, basically all standard libraries in C++, for example, IOStream or vector or algorithm or FStream, etc. So if you use this one, you technically don't have to use anything other than this. Okay. So we will use the same approach over here and try to construct a solution in C++. Okay. So we have already taken the input. Now what we need to do is let's define some variable. You can call them, let's say again, shall we use same thing? Yeah, let's go x, y, m. Okay. Oopsie, sorry. I think I was still in a mindset of, that I'm doing the question in x comma y comma m, and then we have to do the input. It will be equal to x, then we have y, then we have m. Okay, and again let's create our variable best equals to 0. Oops, sorry. Okay, now again let's say create a loop for this. Int y equals to 0, the starting point, and y will go till less than equal to m divided by y over here, and then we do y plus plus. Okay, technically this is our for loop, and we can take a look into this program again side to side. So now we have to define int remaining m. Same equation, guys. The equation will remain same. There won't be any changes with the equation. Technically, if it works, I can also do this and just make int, and double divide won't work over here, so we have to use single division, and yes, the ending. And then we can use this equation again. Sorry guys, I'm using it just to make it a little faster. Then we can use the max function over here and total, and then we are good to go. And yeah, one more thing to do is we have to just do the output. It will automatically save the result in the file, and then we can submit our answer. Okay. Let me check. Return 0 is already there, and best. Cool, perfect. Let's try to run this file. Okay. Okay, I have opened the file, selecting the language, and then submitting the code. Let's see what happens. Okay. Remaining remaining. Remaining. Okay, guys, seems to be some issue over here. Let's see which one. Okay. Okay. Okay, there is a spelling mistake somewhere. Okay, got it. It should work now, technically. We're submitting the solution again after changing the variable name. Okay. Okay. There is one more mistake we have made is okay, cool, perfect. Okay, trying it again last time. Okay, we have loaded the file and now submitting it again. Okay. Okay, it seems to work. Now one more thing. One of my student had sent me a code over here, and let's analyze this code, what he is doing. Maybe let's do one thing, comment it out. So he has the main logic over here. What he's trying to do is he's trying to create a list of size this much. Okay, so this is his x, this is his y, this is the m, and he's trying to create a size of kind of an array of size d, where his d is equal to c by a. That is c by a. Technically, what he's trying to do is he's trying to find if we take the same previous example over here, what he's trying to do is technically he's creating an array of, and what's the size of the array? He's finding it by dividing 77 by 17. So that would be precisely equal to 4. So technically he's making an array of size 4 over here, 4 plus 1 technically. Okay. And what he is then doing is then he is finding the total. This is our total. So we can make a comment over here. This is our total that we have found over here using this equation. The only problem over here is that he is considering, okay, what I mean is, look over, let's analyze his code over here. Very, very small mistake he has made. So what he is doing is, when his I is 0, let's say I is 0. So what he is doing, a into I, same equation that we have done. It's just that he has used, okay, this is what his a is, and this is I. So a and I, so he is multiplying them, and the remaining, that is 4 minus 0, that is 4. Initially the 4, that is equal to, that he's doing equal to what? He is multiplying it by b, that is the y, capital Y. He is multiplying it by, that is I think 25 over here, so it will give you 100. Okay, so okay, so in the array he store 0 position, he is storing the total as 100. Next time when I is 1, so it will be 17 plus 4 minus 1, that is equal to 4 minus 3 into 25, I think 75. Okay, and 92 and so on. That is what he's trying to do. Okay, but there is a problem in this case. Now this case assumes that, okay, it is forcing you to accept that many pores in the other pail. For example, let's check up one example. I'm not sure if this example is a correct example or not, but let's try a simpler one, maybe where x is equals to, let's say, 7, y maybe 20, and z, or sorry, m equals to 100. Okay, let's try this, because I think the previous example doesn't suit or doesn't explain the problem in his code correctly. So let's choose this example. In this example, we can clearly see the maximum answer, the maximum milk that we can pour on this pail of size M is 100 only. Why? How? So if we do this 0 times and we do this 5 times, we will exactly have 100 quantity of milk. But if we look into his code, what will happen is, first thing that he does is he finds D, that is 100 divided by 7, which will be equal to how much? It will be equal to somewhere close to 14 plus 1, 15. Okay, now look over here. This is a real problem. Now, when I is 0, his equation becomes 0 into 7 plus d minus 1. Now, d minus 1 is 15 minus 1, that is 14, into 25. This is his equation, and this will give him something which is way greater than 100. Now, this is the problem. When you fix the value of d over here without checking, then you get something like this. Technically the answer should be 5. Now if you see the same example where x is 7, y is 20, and m is 100, in our code over here, what we have done is, first we are doing this same thing. We have taken, okay, 20. So 20 divided by m divided by 20 will give you directly a 5 over here. So this loop will go till 6, 0 to 6, 0, 6. Remaining, we are finding remaining. That is very important, guys. Okay, so when we find remaining over here, it will give us technically 0 over here, right? So in the first try, we will reach 100. So that will be the best case, but let's reverse it. Let's say if this was x over here, so that means 7. So how would it have, it would have looked in our cases, this would give you 14 plus 115 will be the ending point. Okay, and then we find remaining. This is the crux of it. So remaining will be equal to 100 minus, initially y will be 0 over here, in the first iteration. So this will become 0. So remaining is 100. Now we are finding how many 20 liter pail we can pour into the larger pail, and for that we do remaining double divided by x, the quantity of it. So it will be 100 double divided by 20. It will give us 5 directly. So x will be 5. So the equation directly satisfy the condition and will get the answer as 100. While in his case, in this code which my student have written, we won't be getting the correct answer. Okay, so this is a easier solution. Try focusing on making the code as easy as possible, because it's much easier to debug that way. And yeah, thank you.